Alright guys, new video here. What we're going to be doing in this video, hopefully, is going to be getting the gunnels, the aft transom plate thingamabob on top. I don't know what it's called. And the bow little triangle piece painted. And floor partially installed. Hopefully installed. Foam in. And yeah, see how far we get there. I want to get the back pieces of the floor. That's what I'm going to be doing today. Cutting it. Only got about an hour or so. Getting this front storage compartment back in, and gonna leave the rest for right now. See where things bring us, and hopefully gonna be playing it smart as we put her back all together. And yeah, off we go. So one thing that I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be doing the 2 outside strips. So there's 1 strip there, 1 strip there. I'm going to be doing 8-foot pieces. My sheets are 4x8, so I'm going to be going right from the back transom. And I believe it comes to about the middle between these 2 stringers. So I'm going to be cutting it short so it sticks in the middle of this one. So that way, you know, the next one has that one to support it. But if you can see here, we got that glue line going along both sides. What we do is we measure from the outside to about that glue line, and we're right about 23 and what is it there, about 1/4, and you just kind of measure it along up here. It'll be a little bit smaller, about 23, but at the back, we come to the back, we're pretty well right at that. Yeah, you know what, 23 1/4 seems to be about right on that side. And on this side over here, we're at about 22 and a half or so. So that's what we'll be doing. And then what we do is we measure, since, I don't know if you remember these plates there, they run along the inside. So they come out and then they come down. So we actually have a bit of wiggle room. So what we're going to be doing is make sure the spacing in between the 2 plates is going to be the same, and then that way when I cut that center section, it's going to be perfectly true, and it'll be proper. Alright, so I got everything lined up. Like I said before, I got some play, so I ended up doing a little bit short and then doing them both the same size, and that way I don't have to turn it at all at the end. Or trim it up as the boat bows, I guess, or turns. I'll be able to do the same. So both at 23 inches. And then I went and measured the back, so I cutting that off. I'm going to do this first. Hopefully maybe I can save that for a jig or something later. And always only try to do 1 cut. So what I did is I cut them up the center, so that way I can have that edge on the inside of the boat, and that one on the inside of the boat, and these 2 cut edges can go along the outside that nobody's ever going to see. And that way it's a lot cleaner and looks a lot nicer. All right, so we got these 2 pieces put in, and since it was a little bit cockeyed at the front here, what we ended up doing is I push the inside or the back pieces all the way to the outside. You take a measurement, and we were just the 1/8 under 22 inches. And you go to the back. That one was at 22. And we take a look here. And I just adjusted and moved it in a little bit, and we're at 22 inches. So what that means is the inside piece, I'm gonna have to do a bit of math, but the inside piece is going to be about 21 7/8, because I gotta account for the I gotta account for the vinyl, because I'm gonna be wrapping it around the edges and then around the centerpiece as well, coming down and on that side. So I gotta account for 4 layers of vinyl. So once I pick out my vinyl, I'm gonna measure that, and then I'll be able to trim that accordingly. For now, I'm gonna cut this centerpiece exactly at 22 inches. You can always trim it more, but you can't add material. So that'll be my next step. All right, so next day here, I cut this middle piece as a sample. I actually did it 1/2 inch shorter so I could bring it in a little bit more. And so I actually had a little bit more meat on those side supports. what I'm doing now is when I picked up this birch, they gave me this, I don't know what it is, 1/4 inch plywood for free that was just on the top of the pile. And that's what I'm using. I'm using that as a mock-up because this piece here is going to be coming up here, has to jog across, run along there, come back, and then follow this curve. So that piece is gonna suck. So I'm using this 1/4 inch stuff first to do a template. If I screw it up, big deal, it was free. And hopefully I get it right, and then that way I can just trace it on to the next piece and I don't have to mess up a piece. I'm gonna see if I can do this one-handed. What I do is I line up that side with that back piece. And up here it's fairly square, it's not too bad. Even so, it doesn't really matter if it is. And then to get that curve, what I do, let's see if I can get it here. I hold out my hand and I space it out, and all I do is I put the pen down and I keep my hand at the same distance. And then I cut that out, and then I can move it a little bit closer, and then I do the same thing, and then I do the same thing again until I get it to where I need it. That cut out, and you get it closer. Obviously it's not perfect, but it's actually not that bad. And yeah, like I said, you do it again, you grab your pen, and that's actually close enough to where I just go like this. Follow it all the way along. Yeah, really. The best thing to do is if you take a ruler, you hold it on a spot on a ruler, or if you use a spacer, that way you know your spacing's dead on. Here it's not too picky, everything gets covered up. Nothing here you see anyway, so if it's like that there, that gapping, big deal. Nobody's ever gonna see it. Doesn't cause anything for the structure. Everything is spot on. So don't be too big of a nitpicker. Obviously you want to get it close, but it's getting covered by vinyl. You don't need to stress about it. Got that piece cut out, and you can see how it's touching there, but you got a gap here. So what I'm gonna do is you go right nice and close. And since we got a lot of room to play with here, got probably about 2 inches of room, so we got room to make this better. So take that across. And you see how it's a sliver over there versus about an inch over here. So I should slide that in closer. And there we go. That's good enough for me and the girls I go out with. I think it does need to come away a little bit there, because as it comes along here, it'll sit right on top of there, which is perfect. And so now we've got to figure out a way to get this side cut out. And not quite sure I'm going to do that yet. What I did on this piece is I just lined it up with that guy and lined it up right there. And hopefully that'll work. So the way I'm figuring out how to cut this last cut is I mark this angle on this piece of wood. I lift up the sheet, I grab my square, you run it along, and you mark it. And then what you can do is you measure between the two, and we're at 1.25 inches. Now you can just take 1.25 inches and rip that all the way along. And just like that, we've got a bit of a gap there. That's something that I'm gonna have to fix on the actual piece, but it's also had my saw blade depth really shallow, a lot shallower than that before, because I don't have a skill saw or a jigsaw. So I'm doing the best I can. I actually did that curve with the skill saw. So, and then again here, that gets all covered up by trim. It doesn't have to be dead on. And yeah, so that's how that side looks. Time to grab that piece and knock it right there. Just like that. That piece nice and cut. I just got to do that front template, and then I'll be cutting all this out and drilling holes and fastening it into place temporarily. Got to get all the fasteners, rest of my transom. And yeah, that wraps it up for right now. See if I can get back at it later tonight after the kids go to bed. So another lovely day, storm today, but oh well, such is life. Got a template traced onto the piece of wood. And what you want to do, since there's the angle of the boat that this is coming up against, you need to actually make this wider. So what I usually do is I'll go probably, I'm gonna measure this out, but I'll probably go like 3/4 inch or so. Then I'll follow that all the way around just on the outside of the hull side. And then what you do is you take your skill saw and you set it down to a 45 or whatever's close to that angle. These cuts you do square, and then up front you do square as well. Alrighty, so got her tacked down. All I did was throw some deck screws in at a few spots so it would stay in place. Everything fits actually really, really well, except for a couple of things. But this edge here is a little too close. You can always trim it. Now, I think what I might end up doing is trimming it over here because of this gap here. It's too big of a gap for what the vinyl is going to take up. But I don't think that's too big of a deal. And I'm going to be leaving this middle piece loose just for now. Again, no big deal. That's going to be covered up by that trim piece, I think, I hope. And yeah, that's pretty well it. I think I'm going to be getting ready for paint tomorrow, and over the weekend going to be getting that stuff painted. And so, hey guys, so a little bit different today. Going to do a little experimenting on some vinyl. These 3 samples are super cheap. They are $7 a linear yard, and then there's this sample, which is $45 a linear yard. So I've used this one in the past, and what happened was I spilled some gasoline on it, and the darker spots literally just washed right off. And so I was really, really turned off. So what I got is some gasoline, and I'm gonna pour some on there and see if it comes off. I quite literally just glugged some on there, and we'll see what happens on that one there. Go try and rub it, and it actually stayed on there. Let's see about this one. That one seemed to do okay. That one just seemed to do good, and that one seemed to do good too. So I'm gonna let these sit for like overnight or something and see how they look tomorrow. All right, so a little late on starting this video. I took up all the plywood. I fiberglassed those 2 pieces. I fiberglassed whereby resin brought me. I got these 2 pieces to do, 3 pieces. And I got the engine mounts or transom supports, these side pieces right there and right there, put in place. Have my fuel line somewhat put in place there. I need to, what I'm doing now is I am taking out all these bolts that I put in, like right about, let's see, right there. What I'm doing is I am taking that seam sealer, and I'm putting it on all the bolts, so that way they have a nice seal. I got to do those yet, but I got these ones here done. And this here there. So that's what I'm doing now. Let's get going. Okay, so this is where I'm gonna end this video, just because of that's where I it's gonna be long enough the way it is. I got all these panels fiberglass, so in the next video I'm going to be installing the floor, getting some vinyl made up, probably get these side panels installed. I don't know, gonna be doing a bunch of other stuff. Getting the inside starting to look more like normal. And yeah, I got the bolts and the transom and kind of same there. And yeah, off we go.